Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale DX Artisan figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at Scarlet Witch based off her appearance in Avengers Endgame. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new MCU content goes live. Well, Hot Toys, it took you long enough, but we finally got Endgame Scarlet Witch. Up until now, the only Wanda in this costume in 1/6 scale has been the Civil War one. I like that figure, but by today's standards, she's pretty dated. Synthetic rooted hair, not the artisan real wool stuff, or even sculpted. No moving eyes, head to toe pleather outfit, heaps of stuff for them to improve on with this piece. Have they? Well, that's what we're here to find out. As for the box art, right up front, an image of Elizabeth Olsen in costume, not the figure herself, unfortunately, but I'm loving the color scheme. Going with silver and red, it's simple, it's classy, very effective, and the entire box has got this almost metallic effect to it. When light reflects off the surface, like right here, it absolutely pops. Then below that shot of Scarlet Witch, a metallic silver foil Avengers Endgame logo, and in the top right hand corner, a Hot Toys exclusive foil sticker. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. On the side of the box, check out that shine. Like right here, you can see it. The whole box has that finish to it. It's so good. Then we've got the crown as her symbol of sorts. We don't see her with the crown until post-Endgame, and she's not even called Scarlet Witch until after it as well, but them going with that as her symbol and that as her name, I'm totally fine with it. Around the back, warnings and legal information straight through the middle. Then we've got this disintegrating Avengers symbol off to one side, and of course they've continued the silver and red color scheme back here. I wouldn't be surprised if the culprit, the reason behind the size of the box, because it is pretty sizable, is not Scarlet Witch herself. She's packaged without her head sculpt on, and her body is relatively petite. I'm guessing it's the diorama display base. That's why this box is as big as it is. But we will soon find out. On the slipcover, 2 shots of the prototype for Wanda, and it is foam backed just to add some extra padding underneath it. I'm liking the purplish red color scheme they've gone with for that insert, and yep, as I suspected, the reason the box is so big is of course that diorama display base. It is a beast of a thing. First in-hand impressions for Scarlet Witch's body. We can't look at the head sculpt now because it's underneath the clamshell lid. We'll talk about it later. So far, so good. I'm already noticing some positive changes versus the Civil War release. What we're going to do now is get all of her accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything she comes with. I know, y'all are probably so sick of hearing me say this, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments, I would love to read them, but what is DX about this? Hot Toys, please, we need to have a conversation about what makes DX in 2025, because back in the day, DX used to mean something, and I know I sound like old man yells at cloud, but secondary bodies, secondary outfit options, secondary head sculpts, secondary diorama display bases. This simply ain't it for me. Is it reason enough to cancel your order? No, I don't think so, but, you know, as I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Starting off with the diorama base first, flat platform in the middle, that is a great thing for a 2025 diorama base. It sounds like a given because as a base, it needs to work properly as one. Figures should be able to stand in the middle of it. They've been prioritizing aesthetics over functionality with their diorama bases. This is a step in the right direction. The translucent magic effects, they look great. There's a lot of flow to them. Some chunks of rock work in those translucent bits. Some rebar at the back, painted brown with some silver dry brushing on it. Lighter grey dry brushing on the rocky platform in the middle. Then a flight pole with a spring-loaded waist clamp on it. I'm not going to use the waist clamp with my Scarlet Witch. Even though it's foam padded, this is likely going to dig into her outfit and cause damage over time, so avoid it if at all possible. There's a USB-C port around the back of the base, but once again, they do not include a USB-C cable or a power supply. Flicking the switch, there's two modes with this. The first mode is a subtle flicker for this front piece and this one around the back. Then the second mode, you ready for it? Flicking the switch in the other direction. It's a lot more busy. There's way more going on. Everything is flickering, and in the collection, this is going to draw your eye. I'm not sure which mode I'm going to go with, but for right now, I'm leaning towards this one with the less hectic light show. I reckon we'll leave that on. It looks pretty cool. These effect pieces, 100% reuse. We first got them with WandaVision Scarlet Witch, then the Multiverse of Madness release, and now with Endgame. No complaints from me though. Would I have liked more effect pieces, some brand new bespoke ones? Of course, but these, they are still great effect parts. Translucent red plastic. It looks like there's some shading at play. I don't think there is. I believe that's the plastic where it's at its thickest. It mimics the look of shading without having to add any paint on these because that would affect the translucency of them. Down below, they're a little bit flexible so you can slot her hand into that crevice. That's how you meant to attach these to her. Versus the one we got with WandaVision Scarlet Witch, same exact mold. This one curves back a bit more just because of how it was packaged in the box, but trust me, they are identical. If you heated this up, you could reshape it. The red is darker with the new one versus what we saw with WandaVision. I like the darker red. Then these are their latest Scarlet Witch effect pieces. They were exclusive to Multiverse of Madness Wanda, not anymore. The translucent red orbs in the middle, they're clear enough so light passes through, sort of making it look like they're glowing. Then there's some darker shading on the wispy bits on the outside. You can slot her fingers around them, that's how you secure them in place in her hands. The Multiverse of Madness one was darker. Interesting. So for the flames, they were lighter previously, the new ones are darker, but for the orbs, it's the other way around. I tried to do some research on what her necklace means. Is it from Sokovia? Is it from somewhere else? If you know, tell me down in the comments. Real metal chain, real metal loop around the pendant, but the pendant itself, I think that's plastic. Damn it, Hot Toys, they giveth and they taketh away. The LED light up base, that's a win. But they no longer give us the translucent finger, energy effect, magic casting hands. These are from Civil War Scarlet Witch, the same gesture, but no longer do we have the translucent fingers. Could they not have given us both options? Painted fingers and translucent fingers? Surely. That is something that I don't agree with them removing from this set, especially because it's a DX. The fingers are soft and pliable, the skin texture looks good. Better, actually, than Civil War Scarlet Witch, a much lighter skin tone, way more detail. And you can use these with the new effect parts, even though they weren't specifically designed for them. Then some splayed out finger open palm hands. The sculpts on these are looking a little dated with the length of the fingers, maybe a touch long. Relaxed open palm hands, at least they've painted each of the rings in metallic gunmetal. I mean, the shine on that one, that looks really good. And one more magic using / almost gripping hand. What we're going to do now is get Scarlet Witch herself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that, except for the necklace. I just installed that to complete the look. This is going to be another divisive Artisan release. Whenever they give you the option of going sculpted, it immediately sparks that debate. Is sculpted better? Is rooted better? There's definitely more potential with rooted hair because you can style it, you can put your own spin on it. But then again, with sculpted, right out of the box, you're going to get the intended look. You don't have to do any work whatsoever. The head sculpt goes on the body, job done. But with that being said, I think that rooted is the way to go with this. It looks like a shrunk down version of Elizabeth Olsen rotate around in front of me. And the head sculpt and the hair, those are not the only things they've changed versus the Civil War figure. When this was announced, people were saying, oh, well, this is just that original one with the new head sculpt. No. There is way more to it than that. You will see when we take her off the turntable. Top to bottom overhaul. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Scarlet Witch's head sculpt. Not on the body yet, still inside its transparent plastic shipping container. I like that there's a Scarlet Witch nameplate around the front, as though anyone is going to spend big on Artisan Scarlet Witch just to leave her head sculpt in the container and not bother putting it on the body. Surely nobody's going to do that. This little divider thing is new. I've not seen them do that before with Artisan figures. There is a significant amount of product in Scarlet Witch's hair, so I guess they didn't want the front and back hair pieces clumping up in transit. I've seen some complaints about this head sculpt based on the blogger pictures. Par for the course with Artisan releases at this point. In hand, this head sculpt is already impressing me. Yes, I'll have to do some futzing with the eye position, take away that dead-eyed stare look she's got going on. Futz with the hair, I will do both of those things. Then we'll pop this head sculpt on the body and take it from there. Et voila! This head sculpt is unreal. That is Elizabeth Olsen. The 3/4 turn is where the likeness is at its strongest, but come on. Even from the front, I can totally see it. Then the detail. The hairline is so crisp. The little individual strands of rooted hair. The skin texture on the forehead right there. The freckles, the rosy shading on her cheeks. The painted eyelashes, the eye makeup even. The darker shading for the edges of her mouth. The painted lipstick. The skin tone and skin texture match between the exposed skin on her chest and the neck versus the head sculpt. All flawless. The only thing that I could maybe complain about a little is the way they've styled the hair. This is an artisan piece, which means an artisan at the factory has pre-styled it. I have messed with it a little, but I didn't want to take away from the original look the way it came packaged to me. All I've done is clump the two front hair pieces together by rotating them slightly and pushed up on these side bits just to give her hair a touch more volume. Because I'm not the best hairstylist in the world, even in 1:1 scale. Doing my own hair, I'm terrible at it. Then trying to mess with these really fine little strands in 1/6 scale? No chance. I'm sure there are those of you out there who are expert hairstylists at this point. You could make this figure look like $1 million. But the best part about Artisan, the reason why I keep coming back to Artisan, is rooted hair has that extra level of realism that sculpted simply doesn't have. But don't hear what I'm not saying. Sculpted is a great option. It means you never have to futz with the hair at all. But for figure photography, you probably won't trick someone into thinking that a sculpted hair piece with long hair at least is a real person, where with Artisan, you might. Now, these front hair strands, you can put them over her shoulders if you want. I might mix and match. One side over the shoulder, the other around the front. It all depends on how I end up posing her in the display. To move the eyes around, you do have to remove the head sculpt, which is a little frustrating because you run the risk of messing up the hair just to access that gimmick. I am trying so hard not to ruin the hair right now. Handling this head sculpt off the body is very scary. There's enough room inside the sculpt to move the eyes around without having to use the tool if you don't have it to hand. This head sculpt with some side-eye, meeting that three-quarter turn where the likeness is at its strongest. Let's put this back on the body and discuss. Oh yes, head tilt forward, eyes off to one side, showing off that likeness, the hair coming down the front. This is how I'm going to display her. Now there is a bonus feature of sorts. I'm not sure how useful this actually is. There's some UV reflective paint on her eyes. If you shine a UV torch at the figure's head sculpt, then her eyes glow. I would caution against having a bunch of UV pointed at this piece long term so that you don't discolor anything or damage the outfit. Back to looking straightforward now. You know what would have been easier than a UV? And more accessible too, because most people don't have one of these things. The only reason why I do is to show off stupid features like this. Switch out eyes. We've seen custom companies give us Sith eyes for Artisan Anakin, so Hot Toys themselves, could they give us red eyes for Scarlet Witch? Absolutely. I'm sure third-party companies or customizers are going to make sets of eyes for this piece. What a difference a few years can make. Night and day, in fact, on the left Endgame, on the right Civil War. I liked the Civil War head sculpt when it first came out. Now it pales in comparison to the Endgame release. In terms of likeness, the new one is Elizabeth Olsen, whereas the head sculpt on the right is her stunt double. The tan skin tone was never quite right. The hairline looks very doll-like. And the synthetic, shiny, thick strand hair, that was doll-like as well. The old head sculpt was serviceable at best, but the new one simply blows it out of the water. Not to mention we've got moving eyes with the Endgame release. The lighter hair color is going to be down to personal preference. It is Endgame accurate. I know in Civil War she had darker hair, but still, if you wanted to use this Endgame release in your Civil War display, I don't see why you couldn't. I've gotten as close as I possibly can. I'm using my new lens and my new lighting for these close-up shots, just so that you can see all the skin texture and the painted vein work on the white parts for her eyes and the painted eyelashes. For those wondering if she's got her earrings on, she doesn't. There's also some sculpted hairline detail underneath her hair strands at the front. I need to rewatch Endgame to see if she was wearing those earrings because I don't quite remember. It's been years since I've seen that movie. So it's not just the head sculpt the only reason to get this. They've updated the body. They've made everything look a lot more realistic. I don't mean to sound creepy. It's a 1/6 scale figure after all, but I'm just calling it how I see it. The skin texture, the shape of everything, the shadowing in the middle, the lighter shading. The necklace isn't long enough. That is sitting as low as it possibly can. It's far too high. I might switch it out with the Civil War one because it has a bit of a longer string. Now, let's swiftly move on from the body before I get cancelled. The jacket, is it made of pleather? I don't think so. I could be totally wrong. I could be misjudging this. But I think they knew that they couldn't make the jacket out of pleather, so they didn't. The smooth sections, that feels like another kind of vinyl synthetic. The ribbed bits, that's all fabric. Then there's these suede sections. This really nice, rich, deep red metallic lining on the inside of it. And the textured sections. But even they come across as though they're screen-printed fabric versus pleather. Thin, lightweight material, 2-ply, but so thin that the jacket drapes on the body no problem. It's also wired along the bottom, heavy-duty wires that hold their shape. The pleats look good. I'm not as concerned with this jacket versus the Civil War Scarlet Witch's one because it feels like a completely different style of fabric. There's wires along the front too, and I believe they extend up here to the lapels. So here's a proper 1v1 comparison. No fake leather grain texture on the smooth pieces. The jacket is a lot thinner, it's darker, the color, that looks more accurate to me. And the gumminess of the textured sections, no longer a thing with the new jacket. Then they did away with the big zipper around the front on the sleeves. That's another thing that I'm going to have to reference check. I've moved the arms around. There is no faux zipper on the sleeves for the Endgame one. Then the corset hugs the body in all the right places. There I go again. The faux zipper down the front with the eyelets look perfect, and the deep, rich metallic that they've used for the lining of the jacket is also present on the corset. They used a metallic fabric with the Civil War release, but it looked nowhere near as good as what they went with this one. Heck, even the pants, they read more neoprene versus pleather. Civil War Scarlet Witch had pleather pants. They would flake, they would crack. So many people have Civil War Scarlet Witch figures with ruined pants. This material is thicker than pleather, it's sturdier, and it's not a surface coating over stretchy spandex, so I don't think it's going to flake. Yes, it can crease. That is still something to be aware of. You can see the creasing around the knee area. It was present right out of the box. But that just enables me to pose her now more freely without having to stress about adding creases to the knees. And for those of you thinking, oh, well, that's easy enough to fix, take off the feet, take off the boot guards, pull the pants down, push the boot guards back on, it'll lock the material in place, completely smooth up front for the knees. I tried that, but the boot guards, they are glued to the body, so you can't remove them and adjust the fabric. This, believe it or not, was the intended look for the front of the pants. You know what? Credit where credit is due. They didn't reuse the boot sculpts from Civil War Scarlet Witch. There's way more leather grain texture sculpted on the surface. They've painted the little buckles, all of the bits that stick out, the rippling, the wrinkling. It looks so realistic. And it's an inverted split-cut boot design, where the boot guard slides into the base part of the foot, and that just allows for maximum range of motion during posing. Is there sculpted tread on the underside? Yep. Even some tread on the heel around the back. Civil War on the right once again, Endgame on the left, leather grain texture, significantly more realism. This smooth, Play-Doh-esque sculpt work with the original doesn't look anywhere near as realistic. For a quick side-by-side comparison, you've already seen close-up shots of these two next to each other, so this shouldn't come as much of a surprise to you, but the new Scarlet Witch on the left is superior at every level. The look of the hair, the head sculpt, the likeness, the moving eyes, the proportions for the body. She's taller now. Elizabeth Olsen is 5'6" in real life, and then she's got the high-heeled boots on, so maybe closer to 5'7". Hot Toys female MCU figures have always felt underscaled, and it looks like they are finally correcting that. Then the tailoring with the lighter red jacket on the original and the not-so-metallic corset with the bulky zipper and the real string ties along the front, the leather pants, they've gone to town with the improvements on the new piece. Oh, how I wish the Multiverse of Madness head sculpt had moving eyes. It's the one thing that lets this head sculpt down. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. That is the WandaVision body. I've switched the sculpts. I've got the WandaVision head on the Multiverse of Madness body and vice versa. Just because the hair comes down the front and covers up those seams at the shoulders. Multiverse of Madness was a stellar head sculpt. But compared to the Artisan one, I still prefer the sculpt on the left. They've even upscaled Endgame Wanda next to the WandaVision body, and the Disney Plus figure isn't even that old. Now that they're standing next to each other, you can see the proper, tangible, real difference between the realism of rooted hair and the sculpted plastic hair on the right. Still, my favorite Wanda outfit in the MCU, the Multiverse of Madness look. The black and red color combo with the heavy textures on the shirt and the cracked chest plate with the translucent plastic elements, the tattered skirt down below, the tiara, so witchy, the vibe and the blackened fingers. I was hoping to do a head swap in this review, the Endgame sculpt on the Multiverse of Madness body and the WandaVision one. It simply isn't possible. The neck connectors are so wildly different, they are not compatible. The only way to do it would be to switch the clear plastic neck clip from the Endgame body onto one of the others, and that's too scary. Clear plastic is notoriously fragile. That much friction and pressure popping it on and off the double ball peg for the Endgame body and on and off the other body's neck posts. I wasn't gonna try that, but If you're brave enough, maybe you can give it a go. I was genuinely so chuffed with this new WandaVision vision when he came out. Now that he's next to Endgame Wanda, there is such a realistic look and feel about her. She shows up Vision. We need a new one. Better proportions. Moving eyes with the head sculpt. Better detail with the head sculpt. It looks too plasticky. Either way, if you want to have Endgame Wanda next to Vision, this is what that looks like, at least with the WandaVision version. Then lastly, she is from Endgame. Here is Endgame Captain America. Chris Evans is 6 foot in real life. Elizabeth Olsen, we already know, is 5'6". This looks like a proper and accurate height difference. Factoring in the soles on their boots, I don't have an issue with this at all. Going over articulation, nerve-wracking to say the least. I do not want to ruin the hair. Let's just get stuck into it. Double ball peg inside the thick rubbery sculpted neck, looking forward to there. Not a ton of range, but more than sculpted because these front hair pieces are soft and can move with the head. Looking up to there. Just enough range for me, but it's borderline. Swivel and some pivot side to side. Her arms go completely flush down by her sides, no gaps, no problem. Going up to there, unhindered mostly by the jacket. Forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90, and her gloves extend down over the wrist pegs, so even though the sleeve slides down a bit, you're never going to see them. Speaking of the wrist pegs, hinge and swivel. Torso, midsection joint, the corset will restrict range, but going forward to there, going back to there, swivel, and a little bit of pivot, but really barely any. Before you move the legs forward, make sure the pants are taut so the fabric isn't getting eaten up by that joint, otherwise it'll get pinched in there and you might tear it or crease it or damage it in some other way. Going forward to there before they max out, going out to there. Careful of that seam, it looks like it could split if you don't keep an eye out for it. Then swivel at the upper thigh, a really decent swivel. Double bend at the knee, friction joints going past 90. And a split cut boot design, plus a hinge and swivel for the ankles. Good for forward and back and rotation right now. You can get ankle tilt out of that joint, but you need to rotate it so it's facing left and right. Then you'll be able to pivot the foot. Think an oversized wrist peg, that's the way it works. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is, couldn't they have thrown us a bone and given us painted finger and translucent finger hands for the magic effect gestures? They were my go-to with Civil War Scarlet Witch, and it's a darn shame we don't get them with this new one. The second annoying thing is the chain for her necklace is far too small. It's really tight around her neck. I've pushed it down as far as it will go. That's where it sits. Doesn't look accurate to me. It comes across more like a choker than a necklace. The third annoying thing, okay, Hot Toys, we need to figure something else out for moving eyes on Artisan figures. Messing up the hair every time I remove the head sculpt to move the eyes around, so not fun. Do something fresh and new and innovative like the magnet pen tool, like what J&D did with their 1/6 scale Joker. The first cool thing is the diorama display base. It looks sick, it's got an LED light up effect, and a decent platform to work with in the middle to get her standing on the base. More and more often recently, they're giving us diorama bases with these cramped little spots to pop the figures on them, right up front, off to one side. Not the case with this base mold, and if they want to use it going forward for more Scarlet Witch figures, I wouldn't mind at all. The second cool thing, is it a stupid feature? Yes. Am I ever going to use it? No. But there's no denying seeing her eyes glow under a UV torch. It's pretty cool. It's there if you want it. For figure photography, this might just work for you. The third cool thing, so 9 times out of 10, if they can use pleather, they will. I don't get why, but they do it. This is the 1 time out of 10 they haven't. Not genuine leather, but some other kind of synthetic material that is not that fake leather stuff. It should be a lot more durable, both the pants and the jacket, versus the Civil War release. Wrapping up on Artisan Scarlet Witch. I don't see this as a DX, so I'm going to wrap up on this as though it was just an Artisan release, ignoring the DX part of it, because if I don't, it would drive me a little crazy. This figure is fantastic. Is she perfect? No. They've used some sus materials here and there, not pleather, but still you need to be careful because of creasing and damage, so that's something to be aware of. And if you go rooted, you will need to put some effort into the hairstyling. I'm not good at it, but that doesn't mean that you won't be good at it. If you've never tried, and Scarlet Witch is your favourite character, and you want the best, most realistic version of her from Endgame or Infinity War or Civil War, this particular outfit, go for it. Give it a go. You might surprise yourself. If it ends up not being to your liking, the benefit with Artisan is they usually go up in value on the aftermarket, so you can sell it, pick up a sculpted hair one, and call it a day. Look, whenever I've got the option of going rooted, I'm going to continue taking it. It might come across as though putting a rooted hair figure next to sculpted hair ones in the display, she's going to show them up and make them look worse. I don't see that happening. The way I see it is she's going to elevate the other pieces in the Endgame collection. Now, the outfit, the proportions, and the accessories. I wanted more accessories. I'm not going to hold that against her. The proportions are very realistic, a drastic upgrade versus the Civil War release, and the outfit is as well. It hugs the body correctly. They've ditched the pleather, I think, still not 100% sure on that, and they've added some additional Ys to the jacket. So at the end of this, do you upgrade your Scarlet Witch if you've already got the Civil War one? Or if you don't, do you pick this up as your first and maybe only 1/6 scale Scarlet Witch, over and above the WandaVision and the Multiverse of Madness figures? Yes, she wears this outfit for a lot of big moments in the MCU. There's big moments in WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness too. I'm not saying that nothing happens there, versus soloing against Thanos in Endgame and trying to destroy the Mind Stone in Infinity War and kicking ass against the Outriders in Wakanda, then in Civil War on Team Cap. This figure has so much going for her. So I would recommend picking her up as either your only Wanda or an upgrade to the Civil War figure. Now, if you're looking to do exactly that, pick her up. I've popped a link to Pop Collectibles in the description below, along with the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.